Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for January 6, 2022. 1 year anniversary of the Trumpsurrection attack on the Capitol by the Trump supporters. And so the headline news today is Trump's arrest is still in progress. Of course, that's the headline you would hope for today. And today's not over, it's just the beginning, sunrise on January 6th. But the headline you'd be hoping for would be Trump has been arrested. You would have hoped for it a long time ago, but especially now by the anniversary of the attack, it would make a great headline for today. So if that's the headline later today, you heard it here first on the Antifa News Briefa. But unfortunately, that's still in progress as far as I know right now. And it doesn't seem to be making enough progress fast enough. Like I said, it's been a year. Should have happened long ago. Could happen any day now, but today would be a great day. So, what is the news today? Well, I keep hearing about how the investigation is ramping up, or it's a robust investigation, or something like that. But after the teaser on the headlines from NPR that the investigation is ramping up, an anniversary after the attack, a year after the attack, ramping up means they talked to the current Capitol Police Chief, like not the guy that was in charge back then, but the guy who's been in office for 6 months. Just asked him, how many more millions of dollars do you need? Stuff like that. The only news I heard recently was Congressman Bobby Rush is retiring after 30 years in Congress, and he was a Black Panther before that. I recorded a little bit of it for my channel from NPR, but ran out of recording space before probably the best part of their story, where they mentioned after Trayvon Martin was killed, he did a demonstration in Congress in support of Trayvon Martin where he wore a hoodie, but they cut his microphone off and escorted him from Congress. So that's white supremacy for you. If you speak out against the murder of a kid who was black, and so they want to be able to murder black kids, if you speak out against that, and even if you're a representative, they'll cut off your microphone in your free speech and your representative rights and escort you from Congress, like remove you from Congress. They weren't even removing these Trumpsurrectionists from Congress, not for a minute anyway. And now they're giving them platforms like, you hear their talks before they go to jail or before sentencing or whatever, you hear their quotes, or I heard on NPR, they did a dramatization. They did a reading of this guy's FBI interview because the lawyer released his FBI interview to the public. From what you could hear from what they played of it, they said, we've shortened it for clarity and time considerations. Mentioned it was 100 pages and played about 30 seconds or 2-3 minutes of the interview, or their dramatization of the interview. They had the FBI agent as a female. I don't know how accurate that was. Anyway, my point being that the guy's answers were like coaching everybody, and this is how to get off. If you invaded the Capitol and you're going to have to speak to law enforcement, these are the answers you want to give. Because, it was all claiming that he didn't know what he was doing, that it was all herd mentality, that, he knew he was wrong now, it's the biggest regret of his life, all this other stuff, which hopefully at least it is the biggest regret of his life. Or maybe he's just saying that to avoid prison time or as much jail time. Most of them have avoided jail time, and the people who are most responsible, who deserve the most jail time, Trump and his cronies, have not gotten any. So the other news recently was Merrick Garland speaking about this and maybe answering some questions about this. And I only saw Joy Reid's presentation of it, so she had a few clips of his answers clipped together, but it was not very encouraging. He seemed to be authorizing the grab 'em by the posse hashtag that I have listed as a hashtag, grab 'em by the posse, just to let people know that if they don't do their duty to protect the country and arrest Trump and his cronies, then people will probably do it and grab them by the posse. That it's a play on Trump's famous sexist line, sexual assault line. But to say that, when justice isn't done, people form posses to get justice done. That's the Old West version. And when the sheriff isn't in town, or when the bad guys have taken out the sheriff. Now, it seems to be the case here. It's because the sheriff doesn't seem to be, Joe Biden as the protector of the country from threats, foreign and domestic, doesn't seem to be doing his job there. And neither does Merrick Garland, the Obama choice for Supreme Court Justice, who's now the head of the Department of Justice, doesn't seem to be doing it justice. And It seems like the other things, like going against the Texas abortion laws, good things to do, but almost doing these things as a distraction from what they really need to be doing, just straight up arresting Trump, getting this over with, having the consequences for his actions that are appropriate to what the actions were. So we're still waiting for that. But apparently Merrick Garland's statements were, it's everybody's responsibility. It's not his job to prosecute Trump or other Trumpers, Trump Supreme Court justices, Trump's cronies in the Senate and the Congress and wherever else, in governors' mansions. It's not his job to prosecute those people. It's the American people's job to do that, is the impression I got. He's trying to tell people to grab them by the posse, like make it the authorized policy of the Biden administration. Just grab them by the posse. We're not going to get around to it. So if you get a chance to seize these people, citizens arrest in the name of self-defense, defense of democracy, anti-terrorism, whatever you want to call it. If you want to put together teams of Navy SEALs, whatever you want to call it, military people, off duty or whatever, or, just let the military do it. But seriously, form various types of posses in whatever. I don't really trust that the police or the FBI are going to be forming these posses, because they're the ones conducting these interviews and, seeming to be coddling the terrorists. The other thing they did on the NPR coverage of this today was talk to a terrorism expert about the people who invaded the Capitol. Now, why do they talk to a terrorism expert about it? Because they're terrorists. Because the people who invaded the Capitol, the Trumpers, the Trumpsurrectionists, are terrorists. So they're talking to a terrorism expert to get his expertise about terrorists. But what they have to say about it is, they don't fit the profile of terror. They don't fit our usual white supremacist presumptions or associations with terrorists, which they didn't say what those were. But they said what they weren't. They're church-going white people, church-going old business-owning white people. Those people could be terrorists too. I mean, obviously were. And I imagine, business-owning people, whatever, in other cultures, other places, could be terrorists too. But they don't fit their typical profile of terrorists. And all of this seems to be presenting these people as if, well, this is why we're trying to give them lighter sentences. This is why we're not applying real justice for their actions. Because they're not really bad guys. They're white supremacists. Those are actually the worst guys, okay? Like, that's the problem. The white supremacists are actually the worst guys, and you can't coddle them or kid glove them or whatever. Say, they didn't know what they were doing. They were just duped by Trump. Or if you're going to do that, you might as well reserve those severer consequences for Trump and apply them. So that's what we're waiting for, the actual consequences for Trump's actions. And here it is, January 6th, the anniversary. And we're not seeing it. Like I said, they escorted Bobby Rush from Congress when he spoke up for Trayvon Martin against white supremacy. They did that in the moment, and they're trying to usher out people's voting rights and everything else in the same way right now because they have enough power to, or they're still allowed to be there. They're still allowed to threaten the agenda, including the budget or everything else, all the good things in the budget they had to take out to try to appeal to certain people. Like the Trump terrorist traitors go from Trump, they go from Putin and Zuckerberg above Trump, Putin and Zuckerberg, but they go from Putin, Zuckerberg, and Trump down through his various traitors in the Senate all the way to Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema. Like, it's not like they're not part of that same network, part of that same, doing it for the same agenda. So we shouldn't hold any of them, give any of them the benefit of the doubt. We should hold all of them accountable. And when more of it'll start, thankfully, yes, some Trumpers have been put in jail, but the FBI's interviewed people and let them go too. The FBI seems to be kind of in league with a lot of this network of terrorists, and they need to be investigated, and some of them probably need to be arrested and put away for this as well. So wherever it goes, we need to follow it to the end. And according to Merrick Garland, it's on us to do it. So #Pillow Revolution, we can do it from home. We can out them all and talk about it and petition or whatever, but we'll actually get some stuff done if we get enough online vocal support. So thanks for helping this vocalization of it. Check out my rap, Regutrators, as well. Regutrators, Marjorie Taylor Greene verse, Jaden X verse, because he was one of the ones storming the Capitol, and Lauren Boebert verse, because she was the one tweeting in from the sidelines and doing everything else she can that shows she's a traitor. and a puppet of Putin. So yeah, and let's do something about Putin too, because he's just running his mouth acting like he's innocent. And he's the most guilty one here besides Trump and Zuckerberg, again, nationalized Facebook. So thanks for watching and sharing. See you soon, but let's not talk about this anymore. Let's get it done so we can talk about it as history, and the way history will know it, hopefully, is the failed attempt to take over America. Let's not let them succeed, but every day that they're not in jail, seems like they still have a chance. So let's make that chance zero and not let them take anything over ever again. Thanks for watching. See you soon.